Welcome to the Leo Valentino Show. My name is Leo Valentino and I'm your host. And today you are in for a treat. I am talking about my 5-step process for becoming the person you want to be, for building the charisma you want to have, and living the life that you want to have. And in this session, it's going to be a workshop style. So I want you to have your notebooks out and do it with me. And when I was prepping for the show, I started thinking about this because it's a new show, and I can sometimes get too involved with the vanity metrics, and thinking to the past of like, oh, there was millions of followers and millions of views, and I'm starting this show and kind of hiding it a little bit because I had that fear, and I was like, that's the old Leo talking. That's the old self talking, and it takes over your brain a little bit until you say, you know what would the best version of Leo do today? What would the best version of myself do right now? And I said, you know what? I would pretend like there's 10,000 people on here. I've got my crew on here. I just took a cold shower, which I did, as my hair is still a little bit wet. I took a cold shower. I got some water. I prepped, and I'm here to rock and roll because that's what it's all about. We have to stop overthinking. You guys stay in your minds, and I know it's not just me. You guys stay in your minds and you say things like, oh, what if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if the high school friends that I told that I was going to be very successful to see that I fail? What if my mom sees that I fail? I told her I was going to be successful. What if? All these different thoughts start to grow and poison our mind. And I had to just say to myself, Leo, stop overthinking. The topic you're literally about to teach is about how to stop overthinking. So I had to do it myself. And today we're going over stop overthinking and start playing the game. Because I see life as a game, and you should too. Life is a beautiful, beautiful creation, and it's a different perspective for everybody, but the perspective I choose to see it is a fun game. I love games, and I love to win also. However, when you get good at a game, it gets so much more fun. When I first started playing chess, I played chess with my brother Andrew, and he beat me the first time, and I was very unhappy with that because I don't like to lose. But then what did I do? I downloaded the chess app and I started practicing and playing and finding the different moves. And I played them the next time and I won. And how did I feel? I felt pretty damn good. And so I'm going to be talking about how to see life as a game and how to utilize its different strategies for your benefit. Okay. There was a time 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I was 19 and the business was doing really well. So I was doing about 100K a month in the business, paying myself around 7K, more money than I had ever seen in my life. And I was in my sister's penthouse at the time. And I know it sounds so, just let me tell the story. I was in the penthouse and my sister was on a trip. So I had the place to myself. And I had just dropped my ex-girlfriend off to San Diego State University. And we were broken up at this time, but we were still hanging out, and we went to Disneyland. Terrible thing to do is to go to Disneyland with your ex-girlfriend and then drop her off to the biggest party school and then to leave and work on your business. But I did that, and I remember going home and I felt so stupid and I felt so alone. And even though I was the one that broke up with her, I still felt so lonely because like I'm grinding out on this business and I've got nobody, right? I'd had, have Andrew, but he's 1,000 miles away. And I remember having a couple of friends over and I was like, hey, let's do some shots. And so we went to the kitchen and we we had shots and I had four down. And me, I cannot drink for the life of me. So my whole body was red And before I knew it, I was super buzzed. The friends left, and I was alone again. I went to the shower. I turned on the big shower, and I sat down and I cried my eyes out because I remember that moment. I was so lonely. It sucked. And so when I got out, I was just like, this is not the way to live. Like, okay, business is good. Relationships suck, right? It just ended. Um, Health was terrible. It wasn't terrible. There was a couple things going wrong. But I was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of chasing all the time. I'm tired of not being happy. And I remember calling my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, what's going on? Am I being a little bitch right now? And my mom goes, Yeah, yeah, you are. And she starts listing off these reasons, right? Because I asked for it. If you ask my mom for advice, she'll give it to you. And she started giving me all these reasons as to why I wasn't being a man. And I didn't grow up with a strong man in my house, in my household, or having anyone to really look up to. And so that was a big hit for me, for my mom to say like, "Hey, you're not a man, and here's all the reasons why you're not a man." So hang up the phone, thanks, mom. And I went to YouTube and I started to look up self-development videos. And I had already been dabbling in self-development for a while, but I just went in so deep into, honestly, it was red pill. Like, I went so deep into red pill content because I just San Diego State University, all that stuff. And so I was watching this stuff, and I had stumbled across this video about seeing life like a game. And by the way, I don't fully subscribe to all red pill content. I think some of it is agreeable, some of it is absolutely not. But I stumbled across this thing. And it was treat life like a game, and it was saying here's the process of how to get out of your sorry life, and how to start stepping into the life that you really want to be and becoming the man that you really want to be. First, you design it, then you execute, then you live it out. And so I'm going to go through the process of how I went through it, but I want you to kind of think for your life also of like, what could this look like for you? Are you in a position in your life where you're not the happiest, or you've been a little bit stuck, or you're not making the money you want to make, or not having the relationship you want to have? Everything I'm about to cover is going to give you a whole different perspective on all of those things and give you a pathway to find really what it means to become the man you want to be, or the woman you want to be. And so here's what we're going to do. It's called the Daily Five. All right, everyone type in the chat the Daily Five. And for the 10,000 million people that are watching this in a few years, when this starts to blow up even more, when the Lord gives this message out to more people, comment below Daily Five. And comment also, like, where are you from? Everyone who's live right now, put in the chat where you're currently at, because I love to shout at the people who are here. Okay, so this is the Daily Five, and it's meant to be daily. It's meant to be utilized every single day. It is called design, visualize, execute, stack, and repeat. So let's start with number one. Number one is designing your character. So this is huge, guys. If you tonight take out a journal or a piece of paper, and you write down every single trait of the person that you want to become. For me, I wrote down that night. I was watching this video, and I wrote down all the traits that I wanted to have. I wanted to be courageous. I wanted to be confident. I wanted to be charismatic. I wanted to be charming. I wanted to be a great leader. And when I started doing that, I was like, "Hey, I'm not those things yet." And the video kept going, and it said, "Good. It is good to see what you're not. So then you can start to become that. You can start to look at that and say, this is who I want to be. I know I'm not there yet. I got work to do, but now I have something to work towards." And so this question came about that I teach a lot. It is, what would the best version of me do right now? Or what would the best version of me do today? After you write that big trait, that big list of traits, it becomes this questioning that you can ask every day. Like, for example, right before this live show, I started to think to myself, like, dang, I am so nervous because I'm going to have like 10 people on here. And I want 10,000 because I'm impatient sometimes and I want to serve at the highest level, but I know that it's all in God's timing. But what would the best version of me do right now? And I thought the best version of me would take a cold shower. He would do a bunch of push ups, which I did. He would prep the show and he would imagine like there's 10,000 people and he would just shut the fuck up of all the other negative thoughts. And so that's what I did. Design your character. You write down all the traits and then you start asking yourself, who do I need to be today? If I want to become someone who is courageous, I have to ask myself, what would it mean to be courageous today? Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Number two is to visualize. I I like to call myself a master visualizer sometimes because it happens and it works. I think that God gave us an incredible ability to see things and to have visions and have dreams, which can be manipulated sometimes. But visualize. You see before you do. You see before you do. This is where it changed my life. When I was broke, I was seven from born 2002 to around 19. I was broke. I wasn't making any money. And around 18 to 19, I started to do little trips. And I would go to Santana Row in San Jose because I lived around there. And so I would drive 45 minutes there. Or I would take an LA trip every now and then with a friend. And I would always go to these rich places where, the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons and the random Tesla in the middle of the outlet. I would go to those places and I would ask myself, what would the best version of me do right now? I would put on the best fit that I had and I would drive out to these places and I would go to the Tesla store and say, hey, I'm looking for a car. Can I look at a few? And I would have the conversation with the salesperson, a full-on conversation, and just say, like, genuinely visualize in action of, hey, I'm looking to buy a car. I would go to the Gucci store and everyone would stare me down, right? But I would go in there, I would look around the bags and nice. I'll look at the $5,000 price tag and inside internally, I was like, oh my gosh, who would buy this? But outwardly, I was like, it's good. And then I would try to think to myself, like, what if what if I could afford all this? What would I do right now? And I would leave the store and I would go to a nice restaurant that I couldn't afford, but I would pay the $67 anyways for the surf and turf. And I would be thinking to myself the whole time, visualizing out loud externally, not just internally, of what if I can live this life? Like, what if I was that guy that could be here sipping on whatever rich people sip on nowadays? And I would feel so much better when I would go back home. And honestly, I would have to do this like every couple of weeks because my motivation would go up, 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 and then it would drop back down. I would start a workout plan, stop it. I would start a new business opportunity and stop it. Right? I was so immature in my discipline at the time, but visualizing helped me. And then I start to realize I don't have to go all the way to Santana Row and Los Angeles to be able to feel rich and to feel this type of stuff. I could close my eyelids and imagine that I'm there. And I could say, what would the best version of me do right now? Like, what kind of house would I live in? What kind of car would I be driving? And what would it feel like to drive that car up the long driveway, open up my security gates, say hi to my bellboy, my bell guy, and say, hey, how's it going? I would go upstairs. How would it feel like? I started to close my eyes. I started to do that consistently. Then, okay, number one, design your character. Number two, visualize. Then I would execute, right? I would execute on that. I would open up my eyes and I would go do those things that I would be doing if I was already there. For example, before I was a charismatic person, I wasn't always charismatic. I was very shy before. But before I was charismatic, I would tell myself, I want to be charismatic because people say that's how you get rich. And people say that's how you get better at sales and leadership and that's how you get the woman of your dreams and all these different things. You just have to be very charismatic. And so I was like, okay, I want to be that guy. And so I would visualize that. What would that guy do? Everywhere he goes, he would open the door, he would say hi, he would smile, He would, uh he would say, "How are you?" Right? "How was your day?" And he would just have this charm about him. I don't know. And I started studying charismatic people like Jamie Foxx or actors like Tom Holland and talk show hosts and different people that were very, very charismatic. And I just started to see, like, wow, foundationally, that person just focuses on making the other person feel good. That's it. Like, if you took the top 20 most charismatic people, maybe I'm number 17 now, I don't know, but you take the top 20 most charismatic people in the world. The foundation between all of them is that they simply are so inescapably present with the person in front of them, which means they are serving the other person. They're allowing the other person to feel good, not focusing on themselves or their nose or their ears or how they smell or how they look today or any of these things. They're just so focused on serving. So much so that it overtakes them that when you see someone like this, it's so attractive. It's like, wow, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm in, we're in sync right now. And so I started to do this. I would go to a Starbucks. It was the same Starbucks I would always go to on Bay Hill Cherry. And I would drive up there. It was right by my Fitness 19, my gym. And what I would do is I would grab a coffee, and all of the baristas, they all knew me by name, right? Because I would go in there and I would buy my coffee. It was $2.50. I would say, wow, really $2.50? That's incredible. I hope you have the best day. I would buy a $10 gift card and I would say, hey, spend it on the people behind me, right? And I would go back and I would just witness how much happiness you could bring to people for 10 bucks or for saying hello or for remembering their name, right? Imagine this. There are people, grammar, Leo, who have their where's my mic? Oh, it's right there. There are people who have their name tags right on their thing. Like all service people, bell people, waiters, waitresses, say their name, right? Say some of their name. Who's on here? Ricky's on here, Bella's on here, Andrew's on here, Les is on here, Grace is on here. Say their name and say, Grace, how are you? Oh, it's been such a good day. Is your day going as incredible as you deserve it to be? You say things like that. Who's ever said that to them? Maybe their favorite person on the planet. Now you're their favorite person on the planet, number two. But say those type of things and don't be scared to say that because all of a sudden they start looking at you and like, wow, I don't know what it is. You must be a rich guy, right? At least rich in life. Anyways, hey, you visualize it. That's what he would do. He would be very charismatic and then you execute it. I would go to Starbucks and I would go to the gym. I would say hello to everybody. I would still get my workout in, but I would say hello. And what did that do? It started to allow me to number four, stack wins. I started to stack these wins of saying hello to everybody, opening the door for people, having incredible conversations where I was, again, inescapably present. And what does that mean to be inescapably present? Well, watch this, watch this. If I'm in a conversation with you and I'm doing this and I'm looking down and we're talking and I'm kind of not really in it, but every now and then I look at you and I look down, I'm trying, or maybe I'm looking at the next person I want to talk to, or maybe it's just like, hey, can I get a pumpkin spice latte grande, two pump? It's my order. Um, it's kind of you're not really there with the person, right? But imagine if it was you're gonna be the barista or barista, whatever you want to call it. And I just say, hi, like, how are you? How's your day? Tell me how your day was. Okay, let's just say you said good. Good, amazing. What was and I know we're ordering Starbucks and we got people behind me, but what was like the best part of your day today? And you tell me how your day was. All I'm saying here is I'm just focused on you and I'm asking intentional questions in such a fashion that makes you say he's not just giving systematic questions to me. He had to use his human brain, his human soul to come up with a question, and he's not letting me not answer it. So I have to answer. I have to have a very human conversation with him right now. And now we're connected. Right? It's connection. You do that with enough people and you've got a lot of friends and you've become this popular person, which it's not about being popular, it's just about making people feel good. Because if I can make your day today, if I can make you feel incredible today, right, how much better is that going to make my day? In business, for example, right? We're at a mastermind right now. If I can make that whole room feel incredible and get them talking about how great life is, how much more are they going to refer other people to me? A substantial amount more. It's the same way the reason social media works, right? When you be authentic. That's why they say be authentic. But let's move on. So, stack wins. You go out and you go to Starbucks or you go to the gym, or if you live in an apartment, you go downstairs, there's always that service lady or service man, and you say hello and you ask them how their day is. All of a sudden you start to get this feedback of Grace, you're so present. Or you get this idea of saying, who else is here? Andrew, you just have such a way with words, which is great feedback, right? Which are great wins because the outside world, although we don't want to dwell on external validation, external feedback though is good. It's feedback. It's letting you know you're on the right track. You're doing a good thing, or you're becoming more charismatic. And so you start to stack it and you start to get on a winning streak. All of a sudden, old Leo 4 weeks ago, who was not charismatic, who's at that penthouse writing all these things, being like, I just want to be the guy, but I'm not the guy yet. What do I got to do? You tell me I just got to say hi to people because that's what future Leo would do? Because Leo asked, what would the best version of me do? What would the charismatic Leo version of me do? He would say hi to everyone. Okay. Am I doing that now? No. Should I start doing it? Yeah, maybe I should. Because maybe that's what's going to allow me to create the traits that I want to have. Because some traits you could say you're born with, but I believe that a lot of traits are developed and built. Gifts are God given, right? There's certain people who can speak at such an eloquent, I don't even know the word, right? See, grammar's not my gift, by the way. Neither is vocabulary, but speaking is, right? Speaking, and I can talk whatever out of my ass, whatever out of what I can pick anything up and start speaking about it because that was a gift that God gave me, right? For better or for worse, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that there's certain traits that you can build and develop, like charisma, like charm, like presence, like what are some other ones? I started to get confused between skills and traits. Courage, boldness, um, being a gentleman, being a great leader, being someone who is attractive. Okay, here's a big thing, guys. I used to really be insecure. If you would have seen, if you would have met me 6 years ago, I was so insecure. I was so envious. I was so jealous. I was so immature. And there came a point. Hold on, I lost. I'm getting ahead of myself. There came a point in my life where I had to. You know what? Whatever I was gonna say right there, it was really good, and it'll come back to me. But this is what happens when you get ahead of yourself. Let's do number 5. After you've designed your character, wrote down your traits, number 2, you visualized it, you saw it, whether you go out and visualize, right? You go to the nice place, or you at home visualize, you ask yourself, what would the best version of myself do? And whatever you see, okay, perfect. Open your eyes and you go execute. Go to the barista, go to Starbucks and order and make the person feel great. If you didn't get a chance to do it to the person taking your order, go around whoever's giving you coffee. They got nothing better to do. Tell them their hair looks great, or tell them that I hope you have a fantastic, amazing, tremendous, incredible day. And they were like, "Whoa, you too." Do that consistently, and then this. When you go home that day, you take your journal and you reflect and you repeat. But let's start with reflect. Question number 1: did I show up as the best version of myself today? Did I show up as courageous today? Did I show up as charismatic today? Yes, no, maybe. Next, what worked? What worked is, oh, I went to Starbucks and I went to the gym and then I went to the office and I just felt like everyone's day was better because, I was present. And I wasn't feeling so insecure because I was just so focused on the other person. And what a theory. And then you start to gather that feedback and that data, and then you're like, huh, very interesting take. Right? Next question is, what didn't work? I tried too hard at the last Starbucks. And there was a time actually where I was trying way too hard to be charismatic. And every person, I would try a systematic way. I would say, like, even if I'm ordering coffee, like, "Hi, how are you? How's your day? Tell me about it." And the people would be like, "Why are you asking me how my day was?" I had to eventually get out of that mindset and start finding different ways to be charismatic without trying so hard. But I only found that out from reflecting that evening after the 19 conversations I had. 4 of them were incredibly awkward. But people can have those 4 awkward conversations and do nothing about it, or you can ask yourself like, "Hey, why was that so awkward? Could I fix that?" And then you fix it the next day. And that's where repeating starts to happen. And so what you're realizing here with these daily 5 of design, visualize, execute, stack, and repeat, it is a game, right? It is a game and a for sure way to grow specific traits that allow you to live a phenomenal, incredible life based on the person that you want to become. Not everyone has to be charismatic. However, does it absolutely benefit you in every conversation that you're in? Does it give you the ability to wordsmith things out of your mind to create money, to create connection, to create influence? Does it allow you to lead different individuals to do great things? Right? That's what influence is. Manipulation is on the other side when you influence someone to do the wrong things, right? But when you influence someone to do the right things, that's incredible. That's leadership. That all comes from communication and through charisma. But building charisma doesn't just say, "Oh, I want to build some charisma. I wonder what to do." There is a process for it, for everything that you want to do. Discipline, what's humility, courage, boldness, whatever the trait is that you've been saying, like, "Oh, I wish I was that. I wish I was more like that." Write it down and visualize it. Like, what would it look like to be more courageous? Like, me, I'm trying to learn courage right now, right? Being able to say the things I really feel because I've got a lot of I've got a lot of beliefs that not a lot of people might agree with, but actually a lot of people would agree with, right? Like, in terms of a masculinity, biblical masculinity, I believe in the Bible. I believe that men are here to provide and to protect. I believe that we are called to become the best version of ourselves. I believe in this country, all these different things. That type of courage today, this is me executing. This is me doing that today because I had to visualize what would that version of Leo do? And guess what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to reflect and say, "Hey, were you courageous? Did you say the things that you really meant, or were you scared of how people would see you? Or were you afraid of different ideologies?" Right? It's a very undercomplicated but potentially complex idea of how to become the best version of ourselves. But I'm going to say it one more time as my pen drops. Design your character. You ask yourself, what would the best version of myself look like? Write it all out tonight. If that's the one thing you get from this, write that all out. Put in a journal. Okay? Courageous, charismatic, attractive, blah, 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 whatever. Next, visualize it. Like right then and there, close your eyes and be like, okay, what would it look like though to be courageous? Okay. And if it's hard to, here's the thing, if it's hard to do that, think about someone you look up to. Think about someone you respect highly and say, what would that person do today? Or what kind of traits do they have? And then when you visualize, it sometimes is easier visualizing somebody else than it is visualizing yourself. So you can visualize that person and be around them. It's a lot simpler. Just try it. Number 3 is to execute. All of this is amazing, but if you don't actually go out and do it and try something and actually get hands-on data, hands-on action, hands-on with whatever it is that you're trying to do, nothing's going to happen. You don't read books on how to swim and then become an exceptional swimmer. You just jump in there. Right? You just jump in and start learning how to swim. Then you stack wins. You keep jumping in the water. You keep going to the Starbucks. You keep making sales calls. You keep posting. You keep going live. You keep doing the thing that in the beginning feels so weird because it's new. But as you reflect on it, you learn these things, and then you show up the next day, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. You might take a day off, but you show up the next day. All of a sudden, someone comes to you and they say, how have you been doing this so long? How are you so good at speaking? How are you so good at communicating your words? Oh, it's because it was new to me one day, and I decided to get over my fear and stop overthinking and just suck at it. But then all of a sudden, because I reflected on it, I didn't suck so hard. Pause. I wasn't as terrible. And then I do it the next day, and 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 you start to get really good at things because you just didn't allow the enemy's schemes of doubt and insecurity to enter your veins. That was a lot. We covered a lot. Oh, guys, I pray that you try this and that you do this and that you reflect on this because it will change your life. My life is not the same that it was last year or the year before or the year before. I live the dream life that I never thought imaginable I could be living this at 22 years old. When I was 19, I dreamed about this type of life, but it was 10 years from now. But all of a sudden, was it 19, 20, 21, 3 years later, I'm living a lot of that life today. And so I understand that my 10-year vision might come in 2 years. I also know it might come in 20 years. But I know that if I don't take action or think about it or start moving towards that direction, like I'm showing you how to do here, none of it's going to happen. And I will be in the same spot that I am in today, or I will be worse off if I don't actually think about these things and ask myself the questions of what would the greatest version of me do today? But guys, when you do it every day, you're going to look back at yourself in pictures, right? Where's my phone? I don't even know where my phone is. You're going to look back at pictures and you're going to be bewildered by how much you've developed yourself, how much you've fallen in love with the life that you've created, how incredibly close you've gotten with God. That's something that has absolutely shifted me in my life is realizing that God is such he is the reason for all of this. For all the steps you move forward, for all the steps that you see in your life. He is the full reason and capacity for why everything starts to change for you. But we have to be able to reach out for it. We have to be able to take that calling and say, okay, God put me on this earth for a reason. God gave me these gifts for a reason. He put me through these circumstances maybe for a reason, which is a hard pill to swallow. But now is my time to really change my life because there's so many people to help, and there's so many people who need you to be the person that you are, need you to be the man that you are, need you to be the woman that you are, need you to fully step up into the greatest version of yourself. Because I promise you, life is incredible and gets even more incredible when you understand how to play the game, when you understand how to utilize the gifts that we've been given and get out of that head of yours. Stop overthinking. Stop overthinking. Stop overthinking. Get out of your head. Get in the notebook. Write down who the best version of you is. Visualize it. Go execute on it. Even if the one thing you need to do is text your best friend that you love them, or post something or write something or do this thing or share this video out to somebody. Hey, it's a beautiful time. It is a beautiful time. I want to close out on a prayer because God is so good. Father God, thank you so much for this platform and for giving me the ability to speak this out and for anointing me with this mission and these gifts to be able to speak. Thank you so much for your word. I know I didn't quote anything today, but I'm constantly studying, and I pray that each person was able to receive this and are able to utilize it, think on it, execute on it. And God, I just love you and thank you so much for everything you do. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, beautiful people. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful night. I'll see you next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Peace. Bye bye.